What is up, family? Welcome to the Friday Live. The Friday Live Helpcast started because of viewers like you. Thank you. For all my PBS fans, you know all about that life. This stream is brought to you by moi, your hostess with the mostest, Diana Gladney. And on this stream, we're going to be covering, again, some of the things that we talked about with the ZV-E10. A lot more questions have come through, and I'm trying to answer them as fast as possible. In addition to, is it right for you? Is it not? We also have our regular YouTube live stream Q&A, whether you're getting started with Ecamm Live, trying to figure out what you may need as far as accessories to get started with live streaming and the tools of the trade. Helpcast is here for you. In addition to starting your own YouTube channel for your business, your brand, so that you can reach wider, connect deeper with the people that need you the most. A lot of different mediums out there. I believe video is the absolute best way to do that. Let's see who we got in the house. We have Mr. Camera Junkie. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. The DevinChambersOfficial.com. Good to see you. As Mr. Camera Junkie said, if you get value out the stream, if you've gotten value off of previous videos, it's just waiting for you. Just go ahead and, get it going. What's going on, JoJo the Techie? Ready for Miss D to drop some knowledge today? Hey, I'm on fire. I'm ready. What's going on, Miss Finance? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. India in the building saying, see, India, I did it that time. One time only. That's it. All right. And so saying, what's popping? What's going on? Let's see here. Paul Duncan in the house. Good to see you. We have Beards and Banjos. And hi, folks. I'm loving the excitement bubbling from these new tech announcements lately. Elgato, Sony, what's next? Well, I can tell you, more than likely, you're going to see a barrage. You notice the bouginess in the word barrage of accessories. I'm kind of surprised because small rig is a little late to the game. Usually, based off the rumors or someone that they were able to get the camera to, or maybe from Sony or something like that, small rig, you'll see the company UU Rig. That actually, from my ZV-1 bottom cage plate, just the bottom part, is by UU Rig, and that's also a company associated with Ulanzi that you all have heard me talk about tremendously. I love the Ulanzi quick release plates here, and so you'll have your plate, you press it, it comes off, you want to reconnect it, and then you're done, and it's good to go. I wouldn't do that if I hadn't thoroughly tested and tried all that different stuff. So those are my try and true go-to brands. Ulanzi is really like one of my favorite ones, and by default UU Rig and stuff like that. They really just do an exceptional job with the build quality. So you can see a ton of accessories that are going to come based off of this camera. A lot of new ideas get spurred. So for example, when the DJI Osmo Pocket came out, something completely totally different and new to the market. So a lot of people were excited about it. A lot of new accessories came to the market, and just ideas that people had. So you can expect some of those. And around the corner, probably around in September, we should be getting the release or the announcement of the Sony A7 Mark IV. So those that have been wanting 4K 60, probably 1080p, 240 frames per second, maybe up to 960 on the like a time limit or something. And who knows what else the heck, S-Cinetone and some other stuff. So that is what I'm thinking, and usually the patterns and behaviors and things like that. What is going on? Lim drops again, saying hit that like button, y'all, 100%. Saying who shoots with a potato around here? I guess if you... I'm not going to say no names, so we'll leave that alone. It's too early. It's too early for that, Lim. It's too early. We have the incredible Sylvia Nixon in the house of Press and Sew. If you all are wondering who is doing the incredible merch over at DinahGladney.com, over at DocRock.live, you are witnessing one of the founders and creators of Press and Sew. Even the shirt, which is Doc's shirt that I'm wearing today, supporting my brother from another mother. It's a lot of us and a lot of other creators as well have been able to kick off their shops, not having to wait for anybody or anything, no subscriber count, no certain kind of things other than clarity with your brand, who you want to reach and how you want to do it. And even with, helping with some of the designs and stuff like that. So we're gonna kick this off with supporting one of our own. And I'm going to show you just not what you see for my brand, because I think you all have seen the create, record, repeat shirts. Some of you have gotten those out. So let's take a look at Press and Sew as a whole, because I think it's important to see, it's not just like who's doing a business, but who's doing it well. There are a lot of different merch shops. You got Teespring, you got all this extra other stuff. I shut down whatever it is, the heck that you get through YouTube where it's on the shelf, because I'm supporting my own. All right, so it's just put your money where your mouth is. That's what I say. So if we go over here to Press and Sew, then you will see my merch shop, the Diana Gladney collection. You have the 2 versions of the Create, Record, Repeat shirt across the different ones. The teal ones and the Neptune blue are my favorite. And of course, one of my favorite go-to sayings, learn and do, which is my educational mantra. But when you come over here to shop, you will see so many other people that have been able to get started with their brands. Blind Guy, his wife, their life that you guys see in the chat, they always have them. You have a ton of people. Alicia Way, 10% off coupon available. You have a ton of other people. Bishop Donald Oliver Ministries, they have one. How It All Works, that's Kirk Nugent. So you see, it's like a ton of other people. LBC Branding for Michelle, they're out there. We even had, like, it started with like the Learn and Do shirt and the Vlogmas shirts from last year. We started out here. Now we here. The store is packed full of creators, as well as the official company now that handles the merch and creates the merch for Ecamm. So many people have been loving the hats, you've been loving the shirts, and there's so much more coming. So just shout out to Press and Sew and all the incredible work that they're doing, and more power to them. As best as I can, I'm working to try to get you in the door a couple other places as well, because I believe that this should be the premier brand when it comes to creators, and that's Press and Sew. All right, you know. Don't say you wasn't told. What's going on, Dr. Elo in the building? Good to see you. Lim says he shoots on a potato, and that would be a Nikon. Now, keep that. Now, listen, if Migs hop in the chat, y'all know what it is. Let's see here. Saying now I want a baked potato. Simply Ob saying, hey, y'all. Okay, let's see what is. Am I missing anyone? Okay, Abdulasam. I think I said that right. If I missed any enunciation of that your name, let me know how to pronounce that correctly. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Alrighty, BT Live. What's going on, lower thirds? I need lower thirds, please. Share links. Well, depending on who you are using for your editing software, if you're using something like a Wondershare Filmora, then they have an editing and effects store. Where you can get lower thirds there. If you're using Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro, then you have a ton of options, because those are the 2 primary platforms when it comes to what you can use. Now, let's take a look. Most people start with Adobe, and at that point, you also have Envato Market as well. They have a ton on there. And what I recommend, or Envato Elements, what I recommend is that when you are getting like a lower thirds pack or whatever, make sure it's consistent with your brand, make sure it's editable, and obviously things like that, most of them are, they're very customizable. But when you purchase one, you should be able to, let's see if I can pull up this Envato, is it Envato Market? Should be, because the Elements, they're branding out or branching out with some other stuff. So let's see here, but I'll pick that up for you. But yeah, it's like you should be able to get a ton of different stuff for what you're trying to do. And what I usually recommend is go ahead, spend the extra money. You'll see some for $10, $15, maybe $20. Buy something that's like for $45, because then it may have 400 variations of title screens, transitions, and lower thirds. So don't just go for the lower thirds, get the and packages where it has a ton of other things that are in there as well, because that'll help you out so much more better. And so as this is loading, this is what I'm referring to, which is Envato Market. And so you click on the graphics thing over here. And so if we click lower thirds, and we search, you'll have a ton of stuff that comes up. And like I said, if you need something more niche, like if you're doing a mock interview show where you need like a news segment or something, or whatever the case is, if it, you know, it is for a specific thing, then there you go. So even social media packs, all that different kinds of stuff. There are a ton, but I would just more so look for things that are specific to, let's see here, you can go to Adobe Premiere, or however the hell you spell it. And you have a bunch of other stuff. This is not quite what I would want here, but let's see here. Graphics. Of course, they have Photoshop. But more or less, it covers the point. But you have a ton of stuff. So it's really going to be based on how you search and what you type in. But just put in there like Adobe Premiere Pack or something of that effect, or Lower Thirds Pack, and then you'll get something. But very, very affordable, very friendly. So I would check that out as well. And they also have stuff on there for Final Cut. If you see anything that says Apple Motion, most of the time it'll make sure it just also says it also will work in Final Cut, and you're good to go. So, alrighty. Dr. Elo saying, Diana got me on the Ulanzi quick release and the ZV-1. Don't forget the Canon M50 LOL. I'm telling you, I had just had another one of those quick release plates ordered this week that came and is using for something else, so they got plenty of my money. Saying looking forward to the Ecamm beta. Ken and Glenn talked about their Q&A, on the Q&A. Yeah, that's something else that's coming up. Wasn't sure if it was going to be out by the time that the stream started, but we'll see maybe by next week or somewhere thereabout, because I didn't want to do any tutorials yet, knowing that we have this update looming. So just buckle your seatbelts, I put it that way. And saying thanks, Diana, always a pleasure. And if you guys have questions, make sure you are dropping those in the chat. What's going on, SK Scrappy? Good to see you. Saying good afternoon, beautiful. Good afternoon, Mr. James. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. And saying started from the bottom. So wow, let me get off the floor. Appreciate you, Sylvia. It is well deserved, my sister. It is well deserved. Saying it's perfect. Awesome. Alrighty. Thank you. Glad I pronounced that right. Saying I finally made it to class live. Well, good on you. I'm glad that you are here. Pumped that you are here as well. All right. Got through all the chat, saying hello to all the good fam that's in the building. Y'all know where it's going. ZV-E10 popped out finally from behind the scenes, and it is finally available. And then it finally went available for pre-order. So I'm trying to think. I think it was on our Let's Get live stream on Thursday over on the other channel. And because I had pre-ordered it, and y'all don't want to know how much I was up, just giddy like Christmas night, waiting for this freaking thing to drop. So I'm going to show you on B&H because Amazon has it officially listed. You'll see that on the community tab. I dropped the link to it. However, it's like it's available and it's a new release and it's available. You can still pre-order it. And it's saying that the shipping will begin on August 24th, which is why I was trying to make sure I was one of the first people. As soon as the button went live, I'm just sitting there like, okay, 858, 59, boop, boop. So as soon as it went live, I was ready to order. Had already made sure I was signed in, everything linked together or whatever, so that I could check out. You're seeing $798 because it's the one with the kit lens. If you go body only, then it is going to be dropping down to $698. It's $699 on Amazon. Now, restock alert or request stock alert button is available because it's already back ordered. I'm not even kidding. It was back ordered, I think, Thursday when I checked, because it'll show you the various stages that your product that you ordered through B&H and where it is in the process, and it just showed it's back ordered. So needless to say, like I said, so far my predictions are checking out line by line when it comes to this camera is a big answer to a lot of people. It's not just like, oh, another camera. No, it is going to be one of the cameras that's going to be super important, because there wasn't a whole lot that you were going to fully get sub $1,000 US, that is. And if you did, then you have to pick and choose what are the most important things to you, which is why I always ask, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do? What are you creating content around? And if that did not include X, Y, and Z thing, then I'm like, okay, then you can afford to miss out on a couple of these settings or these features rather, and then go with this other camera. Now I don't have to do that. And this is such a huge relief to me and other people that do camera recommendations as well. Because they're like, hey, I'm looking to get started. I'm looking to spend under $1,000. Great, because now you have wiggle room. The people that were at $400 and $500 looking for a camera, you now need to save only a little bit more. Because if you go to Facebook Marketplace or anywhere else, as we discussed, the Sony E-mount, and this is something I also want to discuss real quick as well. The Sony E-mount is one mount. It's just this one thing, as you would probably guess. From Sony, Panasonic, Canon and Panasonic, Nikon, Fuji, they all have different mounts, and the mount is this part here. Okay, that's what the mount is. You see those electronic parts right there, and think that's what the mount is, right? And so, depending on what lenses that you would buy, some you would put to your camera, and it may not fit because it's the wrong mount. So you need an adapter and things like that. And so you needed to learn that. And I know for me early on, that was one of the most frustrating things. With Sony, as long as it says for Sony E-mount, it doesn't matter if it was originally created for APS-C or originally created for the full frame cameras, it will fit because there is only one. They don't have all of these different versions. They just have the one that is able to house both their APS-C and full frame cameras, right? And so for those of you that have been asking, well, I'm coming from Canon, what will I need? If you are looking to keep your lenses from your Canon body, here's what you need to do. If you're coming from the APS-C camera bodies and they're mirrorless, so that's the EFM on Canon, you can't do anything with those lenses, unfortunately. There's no lateral transitional path from the EFM to anywhere, honestly, in that regard, because I don't know. It's just the way it works out. Everybody else, you more or less can cross your lenses around and reuse them. So unfortunately, you're SOL. However, if you have a DSLR like the EF and EFS, EF stood for the full frame DSLR body, so your Canon 6D Mark IIs, and EFS were your APS-C DSLR bodies, your SL2s, SL3s, and so forth. Those, you can get an adapter that goes from the EF to, or more or less the EF. It needs to be more or less full frame, for real. So EF to E mount, you get a little adapter. So I'm gonna pull that up so I can show you what that looks like on Amazon. Well, not Amazon, we could do this on B&H since we're already over here. And so now don't get it twisted. It doesn't cost $400. This is just an example. There are multiple versions of this. So if you just go up here and you type EF to E adapter, you see all these different versions. I just clicked on the first one, so all of y'all can calm down that it costs that much. So if we go to one of these other ones or whatever, you have them to where they go to Micro Four Thirds. You have them where they go to a lot of different things. All right. So you don't necessarily, it's just type that, let's just see what comes up in the search so nobody freaks out over the $400. So you have the Sigma MC11 adapter converter, which has gone through a lot of updates, but let's just keep scrolling down. Metabones is the brand that was the #1 brand that was really doing this and doing it well for the longest time. So you will see a higher price tag on anything that says Metabones. Viltrox is one of my favorite brands personally, but this one is from EF. So that's 6D Mark II, full frame camera bodies, 5D Mark III and 4 and so forth, to Micro Four Thirds. So that's if you were going maybe the Panasonic route, non-full frame. EF to EFS, you know, here we go. Sony EF to E. And you want to look for stuff that has this adapter. And so photodiox is fine. You could probably find other stuff on Amazon as well. But you want to look for what has these gold connectors. Okay, you're not going to let me draw today? You want to look for what has these gold connectors. The reason why is because that is going to let you know that the electronics will work. Meaning, you'll be able to maintain the autofocus and all of the different things when adjusting the aperture and whatever other stuff, right? So that's primarily what you're looking for at that point. And then that way you can maintain using your Canon lenses. If you were coming from, let's say, again, a 6D Mark II, 5D Mark II, 3, 4, 5, whatever. It's not a 5, I don't think, but move from there. If you're using EFS, probably not. Some things are just not possible. It's like it may be one out there. You could probably search and look for one or whatever. In that case, you're looking for EFS to Sony E-mount adapter. I doubt it though. Most of these are like for full frame, but you probably can. You may be able to. But that's what you need. And then you can continue using those lenses. And some people like to do that, and that's fine. However, you won't fully appreciate the eye autofocus that is available in the ZV-E10 in video, which is the difference because the A6400 had it in photos only, and it wasn't until you got the A6600 or the ZV-1 one that came out and you got that in video. Now you have that in video for human and animal in the ZV-E10. So because of that, you won't fully appreciate that when you have lenses, because what you don't see talked about is the autofocusing motors inside the lenses. That's why when camera manufacturers remake their lenses, there's a new version because the motors are better, so it can keep up with the faster eye autofocus. Now it'll register it, but that doesn't mean it's going to focus as fast or whatever. I'm not saying that it's bad. People have been doing this for a long time. It will work, but you just won't fully appreciate and get the full use of it unless you got something that was natively for Sony. Thankfully, you have lenses like Tamron. You have lenses like companies like Sigma. You have the Sony lenses, even themselves, the original brand lenses that are amazing. From very budget friendly to more expensive to don't tell your wife that this is going to come on the credit card statement. Okay. And so just so y'all know. All right. Let's see here, saying Sony ZV-1 for sale. I pre-ordered the ZV-E10. Wow. All right. Well, congrats to you. I know I got asked, am I getting rid of any of my cameras in order to purchase this one, or is it going to take the place of any of them? And the answer is no. Being a person that is a tech educator as far as the cameras are concerned, being that video educator, no. Because if I'm shooting with this camera, mostly for live streams, I really don't want to adjust this, take this down, or reuse it. If that's what you have to do, that's fine. But I'm not trying to do a multi-camera setup, because it's like, for what? You see the back of my head and it's like, great, you saw the back dreads. Or you saw my feet were up, like underneath the desk. Fantastic. There's nothing to see here. You know, it's like at best you saw a lens. What is it? These Zeiss cloths that I keep on the desk for when I need to clean my glasses. It's like, Merry Christmas. That's the best I can do for you. There's nothing to see here. It literally is nothing to see. So, you know, it's not trying to do multi-camera angles, but it's all about making sure that when I have this camera set up for live streaming, I have this camera set up for live streaming. My A6600 ZV-1 is able to float. In addition to, at some point, I already was aware of this. When I get to the point where I have more cameras than I would actively use, because I'm actively teaching from them or about them, but my actual cameras that I need to use are far and few and in between. And then also, when you're needing to do videos, like when the camera comes in, I'll do how to set it up from scratch so you can optimize it for video. So I have the camera that shoots overhead. ZV-1 is going to be great for that. I'll have this camera that's looking at me as well, and this one that's connected also. Sometimes as you're thinking about your brand and your business, what does that setup look like? And that doesn't just mean cameras, but also accessories, tables, bookshelves, and the like. You know, what does it look like for you to build a brand for what you need? And sometimes, as bougie as it may sound, it is inconvenient to go and take a camera down and need to reconfigure it, even though we have the memory recall settings and all that good stuff for these different things, because it slows down your creative process. So don't just think for where you are now, think for where it is that you're going. And yes, maybe for where you live, you're indoors mostly now, but where are you going? What's the next 12, 18, 24, 36 months look like for you and your creative process? I also want a camera that I don't mind taking out and about with me for traveling. 4, if it's a quick turnaround trip and I'm not looking to do a whole lot, keep it light, lean and mean. If I know I'm gonna be out of town for a while and I know I'm be using what I need, or I know I'm recording a talk is going to be over an hour, like I've said, the People Video Talk is coming up. Use the promo code LGL FAM, FAM, 50% off your ticket. And today and tomorrow's the last days. You only got till July for this promo code for Ecamm Live. Promo code is SUMMER, SUMMER 30. Go to dyna.link/Ecamm. I'm sure one of the moderators will put a link to that in the chat. But it's the last days to get 30% off of Ecamm Live. So if you're new, you haven't been looking at it, you're trying to see what you may want to use real quick, this is Ecamm Live. This is what I use. So when I want to pull up a comment where Lim is laughing at Luis, then I can pull that up. I can pull this wherever and however I want to. I'm not locked into any specific thing. I can readjust this as I see fit. I can pull up all the different things like you guys saw when I was talking about Farouk's video, which I owe him $10 probably. Then I can pull and I can adjust this and go to wherever I want. So I was like mentioning different things. Then I could mention that specifically. Or I had B-roll lined up when I was saying, oh, let's compare the Sony 16 lens. And that's what that looks like at f2.8 versus the Sigma 16 millimeter lens at f1.4. And then I will come back to myself, and that's how I run my show. And it's using Ecamm Live. Also, the Being a Creator series is sponsored by Ecamm Live. So if you want to get started, and we do have some new videos that are coming on it, kind of waiting for the update to roll out. So, but use the promo code SUMMER30 if you want to get access to that. So yeah, all right. Let's see here. Lim drops saying Panasonic. Lim makes these memes. He has this page on Instagram called Memes for Photographers. It's incredibly funny. I bet you he's gonna make something that says Panasonic. I bet you. Said, why don't they create a camera where it flips up instead out? They have 3 of these. 3 of them. Pick your poison, my dear. 61, 64, 6600. So they have plenty of cameras that flip up. Like I said, 61, 63, 64, in addition to all the RX100 from RX100, the Mark 1, all the way to RX100 Mark 7. Those are flip up screens as well. They have plenty. Saying, no, I've never heard of them on IG. Saying the Sony shade is strong. Listen, all I can tell you is that the Memes for Photographer page is hilarious. That's all I'm gonna say. And you run it, so you should know. Alrighty. Let's see here. Okay, saying I subscribe to your channel because you are helping others through your tutorials. Solving problems is the best thing to do. Watching from Kenya. Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Glad you've been able to get a lot of help from the videos. I really am. Alrighty, saying it's the same EF EFS adapter. Okay, it just needs to make sure it's the EF to EFS one. Some of these are specifically EF only like this Photo Diox one, for example, but it's good to know. Good to know. Saying always hiding my credit card statement from my wife. Good man, Jose. Good man. Listen, I'm not to be held responsible for what your spouses do or do not do as far as looking at the bank. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I know is it's a beautiful life that I live. Nobody's checking my bank statements like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, that's all I'm saying. Saying team flip up. Now, as far as Nikon is concerned, I don't know what some of these other brands are doing, but that's another reason why I'm glad that this camera exists. And y'all gonna hear a lot about the ZV-E10 because, again, it answers a lot of questions, and it's an answer to a lot of problems that a lot of creators have solved. And you'd have to get the emails, the DMs, and everything else in between, in addition to YouTube comments and all the rest. Even like when I'm giving talks and people are asking for different things, the recommendation usually varies from person to person, when really it was always like a baseline of things that they need, which is why it's always been, for the most part, some kind of a Sony recommendation as of late, because they fit the bill. It fits the bill for what people need. And when it comes to autofocus, you can't play around with the sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it get lost and sometimes it doesn't. You don't spend $1,000 for it to sometimes work. Spend $1,000 on anything else and go tell me you pay $20, maybe even 10, 12 when you go out to eat for some of these places, and you complain if it don't come out right. So let's not talk about $1,000 investments and them not working right. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's not even play that game. When it comes to some of these other brands, let's talk about some of these other brands for a minute, because there are good cameras out there. You really are hard pressed to find a bad camera. You just may not find an ideal camera for what you're talking about. This is another camera that comes in under $1,000, which is the Fuji XS10, which is a camera that I've always been very impressed with. It has incredible specs, but this is why also, again, when you're looking at some of these brands, Fuji does an amazing job, but it also has questionable autofocus at times. Sorry, I don't have time for questionable. But you're still looking at the 4K 30, 1080p up to 240 frames per second. It has the in-body image stabilization around the body. And so you can see that there. And then let's see here. I want to go to specs. And so it has one of the things that a lot of people, if they're into filmmaking and stuff like that, is you'll see it has the 422 10-bit or whatever, whereas with even like the A6600 has 422 8-bit if you do external recording or whatever, and that deals with the color depth and things like that. But this is a camera that came out, had a flip screen, and because it had a bigger battery, had the flip screen, IBIS, you think it has all the bells and whistles for the most part. Let's see if I can get one where they got that battery door open and see what's going on in there. You would wonder why a picture like this is important for the bottom of the camera, but it's because, like, even Panasonic made this mistake for the longest time. We put that tripod thread mount way over here or way at the edge, and it would just be weird trying to adjust your camera. So the G85 was like that. So just FYI, that's why you would see stuff like that. And this is the first camera also, or one of the first ones, that didn't have that weird old filmic style where you got to adjust all the different little knobs that you find on the XT3 and 4. I'm sorry, I don't care about the film-esque style. I'm not trying to shoot film. I'm just trying to do a freaking video. So they don't have one with the door open, which is surprising. Interesting. But this one more or less has a microphone port, HDMI, and I'm pretty sure a headphone jack on this one, if I recall correctly. But this is a camera that's great. I don't really have a ton of complaints with Fuji cameras, other than most of them had the stupid 3 dials or whatever, 72 at the top, and they were annoying as hell. They were like, oh, but no, I can really see. It's like, no, it's stupid. I'm sitting here doing this. On top the whole time, you're sitting here just doing this. Am I playing a video game, or am I just trying to change the settings? Like, it's not that serious. Like, it looks cute, but I ain't here for cute. You know what I'm saying? In that regard with my cameras. This was a great camera when it came to the specific putting like market research and all that. Camera is for $1,000, body only. If you're looking at something with the kit lens, now you're jumping over into the $1,400 range, which for a kit lens, no. But they do have better lenses. But the other issue with the Fuji lenses is that they're slower. They focus slower. And so, again, because they were for photography mostly, now they don't have anything that's optimized for video. Again, you'll see a lot of credible videos with it. The right tool in the right hands of the skilled person would always look great. But most people ain't starting there. So it don't matter, which is why you need reliable autofocus, quick autofocus. So I don't even want to get into Nikon because they got the Z50 that flips down, and then the ZFC, which actually wouldn't be bad. It's more of that filmic look or whatever. But they still are doing weird things. So I'm glad that more of these newer cameras are coming out, and I'm glad that Sony released the ZV-E10 because this is going to put a lot of pressure to get better cameras from other brands. So if you're with another brand and you've been waiting for them to do something. Hopefully this pushes them to do that. Otherwise, we'll see you at Team Sony. And so, you know, it is what it is. I think I said what's up to you, but what's up, James Buzzer? Good to see you. What is up, Mix? Good to see you. Hashtag Team Flip Up. Ignited Teacher saying thank you. Sure thing. Saying Fuji has been on my radar for almost a year now. I question their lens selection. I think their lenses are dope, but I also think they're just not as fast in video as they should be. And if you want to see an example of that, you would need to go and check out Philip Bloom's channel when he was trying the different Fuji cameras and the different Fuji lenses. And then he did a test, an exhaustive test across all of their lenses. Even if you don't follow, if you're into cameras and you don't follow camera conspiracies, I don't know what you're doing, because the guy's freaking hilarious. Now, again, if you are too easily offended by freaking into the side and it jumps to the back, turn back to the side, and it's like, okay, now it sees you. Ain't nobody got time for that. So when I go and do like this, it loses focus for a second and then it comes back when I do like that. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Honey, it's for work. It's for work, honey. That's what you say when your wife sees the statement. What is this B&H photo video? Just say it's counseling. Just say it's therapy sessions that you paid for. You know, I know you said you're tired of me seeing that one spoon I keep leaving in the sink. I'm going to get help. You know, it's a whole recovery thing. You know, in Albany, New York is where my first session happens. This is what you say, fellas. I'm telling you, I'm giving you the secret to life right here. Okay, are y'all ready? So you go to peopleofvideo.com while you ordering the ZV-E10. You put in the promo code LGLFAM, and you say, wife, that, you know, for your wife, tell her like, hey, this is, I'm getting counseling. You know, I'm going to this thing. It's like POV together again. Doesn't that sound heartwarming? Okay, it's like you got a lineup of speakers and people that are coming here for a lot of people are doing. It's just a whole big shindig. All right. If you need help convincing your wife or your spouse, you let us know. We'll get you the hookup. All right. And you say, well, we got all these different talks coming in from all these different people that are doing these different things. And you're going to get help. You promise, you know, and it required you to order this thing, you know, from B&H. And it's from Better and Homes. That's what you tell her. Say, what's a Nikon? Uh-oh. What is going on, the review suite? Good to see you. He said, see, I didn't even bring it. I didn't mention the brand and ought not be mentioned. Don't start nothing, but won't be nothing. What is going on, that creative girl? Good to see you, Daniel. Glad that you're here. Saying the Fuji shade. Just keeping it real. Who approved the flip down screen? Why reinvent the wheel? Because it was an ignorant move that originally, honestly, came from Canon with the Canon 5. It's like the M5 flip down. Canon M5 at the time was a fantastic camera, but just flipped down. It was the equivalent of a mirrorless version of the 80D at the time. And everybody was like, why do we have this great camera that would be the bee's knees Hall of Fame? It is in its own right, but it flips down. They just assume if you want the mic on top, surely you are just going to hold the side of the camera instead, and then it would flip down. They listened to no one. Nikon said they were the kid in the back of the classroom looking at the wrong answers and cheating. Flip down. Got it. I'm about to show them. I'm about to give them the business. Flip down screen. And everybody's like, everybody always hates this. Nobody enjoys this. Like it, whatever. And so Casey is hilarious. Yeah. Shout out to freaking camera conspiracies. Brings me joy on the regular basis. Is in B&H counseling. That's right. Better in homes. That's what it's like. Better, get you better at home. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. I'm telling you. Is it better in home? It's the truth. It is the truth. 100%. I'm trying to tell y'all the truth out here in these streets. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to mention instead of better in homes, for those of you that say I don't give anybody else any shade or anybody else any praise, Nikon F was a ZFC. This is the other camera that I was referring to. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this up. This was recently announced as well. And it is, again, coming into this more filmic style look. Looks like the older cameras with these dials. This is a newer lens. It's just looking like the older ones, reminiscent of those from the film days, if you like and enjoy that kind of a stuff. But I do not. However, if it floats your boat or finds your lost remote, may the Lord bless you and keep you always. Body only goes for $956, if that's what you're looking to do. This is also if I recall correctly, like a 4K 30 camera as well. And let's go down to the video specs. 29.59 limit, recording limit, as all the other brands have. 4K up to 30 frames per second, 1080p up to 120 frames per second. So you can get a new camera that looks old and still has whatever from the previous camera for more. This is why I'm saying, when you look at the ZV-E10, what are we talking about? When some of these people are like, yeah, but, and what about, okay. I also asked, what about the M50 Mark II recently? Because people are like, I'm trying to decide between that or the A6400. That was an actual specific question. Should I get a ZV-E10, A6400, or the Canon M50 Mark II? Because their question was, I needed reliable 4K. Honest answer, and again, when I give recommendations, it's not about what I like, it's about what you need. Okay, at that point, if you're looking for reliable autofocus, you're looking at a 2.56 crop in 4K on the Canon M50 Mark I and II. You're also looking at the loss of the dual pixel autofocus. So you now go into what's called contrast detection autofocus, and it's also the same autofocusing type of mechanism as to why Panasonic cannot see themselves. So that's a thing. So that takes that camera out of the waters. When you're looking at the A6400 as well as the ZV-E10 comparative to themselves, they have the exact same performance, more or less. However, you're getting the added benefit of being able to have the fully articulating screen, standard as well as advanced stabilization, in addition to a headphone jack that you don't get there. You still get the log profiles and everything else that you were looking for. And you also are looking at eye detection, autofocus, product showcase mode, and the like. That being the case, the A6400 is $898. The ZV-E10 is $698. Huge difference. Now, so if you just purchased the A6400, this is one of those very rare occasions where if you literally just bought it and you can afford to wait another month, send it back. Just got the A6100, you paid about the same price and your focus primarily is for video, send it back. I don't say that lightly because I do understand, like, you just got it, you're excited, you're like, well, what if, and blah, blah, blah. If you've been going this long, unless you have something that you have coming up that you absolutely need it for, then you have to weigh your options there. However, if you got the camera and you're like, whatever, you know, like I can wait, I just was able to get it now, you can trade it in. What you can do is reach out to, come over here. People at B&H are awesome. Won't accept me into the whatever. I don't know what I need to do to get into the affiliate program. You come over here to chat. It says loading, and it probably actually is going to pull up a real person, which I don't want to do. Okay, so they are closed on Sundays, just so you know, and they uphold to their religious views, which I appreciate. And so, yeah, you may see them close on Saturdays. So that's the thing. So if you're looking to get something today, put that order in today or whatever. But either order you placed, website navigation, even if you have questions about tech stuff, if B&H is available through chat, it is a good place to ask those very technical questions about, will this cable fit this? They will let you know. And it's not about them trying to get the right price from you or higher price from you or whatever. They just genuinely are extremely helpful. So that's a thing. The other thing is that when you're looking to order something on B&H and you just ordered something, I've had this happen before where when I got the A6600, the A6600 cost, see how much it costs now, current price, $1398. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, for the first time I looked sideways at my A6600 and it's like, now why they come out with this ZV-E10 and we didn't spend all this money on this A6600? I'm like, they ain't right. I don't mind. I love it. And obviously the bigger battery is Z battery, but which will make a huge difference in the use case and like regular consistent use and stuff like that. However, all I'm saying is I was like, I'm not getting rid of anything. It's still my favorite camera, but I am very curious to see how I feel when I get this other camera in my hand, and where it's like, it's going to be crazy because the only thing that's missing is the great battery. But I got this camera. It wasn't $13.98 because it did get a use, so I think it's like $11.98 or whatever. So barely saved a little bit of change on it, if that. And one popped up that was like for $9.48 or $9.56. All of these were in the used section. So if you're looking for a used camera and maybe it is for something else, what you do is you come over here to the used section. You want to go to digital photography, and from there you want to go to mirrorless cameras. And from there, you want to go and pick your specific brand. If you just want to look for any of the brands, or at least across a couple ones, I always pick what I'm looking for. So let's say we're looking to see what Sony and Canon have. I almost never look at anything else except for when I was with Panasonic back in the day. And so you have the other thing is, this is by bestsellers. I go price low to high. So this is how you're able to find good used camera deals. And so the Canon EOS M2, if you've never heard of that camera, it was not released in the USA. And so this camera, it had very little difference between the original Canon EOS M, but the M2 is a camera that did not release here, but it has the 22 f2 lens. And for a little bit more than what you can get that actual lens brand new, you get that lens plus the camera body. In that case, if I was looking to buy this lens, this 22 millimeter f2 lens, I would get the used camera body and just, get the extra bit, because at least you could do something that's manual focus. The video is not terrible in those cameras. Plus you can add magic lantern and get way more out of it. You got an M50 in here. That's with a kit lens for 506. So if that's something that you're looking for the Mark 1, that's a good option. They got another one, 519. It's been a ton, and I do a metric crap ton of cameras. A7S original, $699 and on and on. Even the RP is in there for $799. Now, do you see why, like, when you look at these prices of these cameras used, even something like the RP that was crippled to hell, it's like you freaking release a camera and pull, what is that, Misery with Kathy Bates, and she took a back to Homeboy's kneecaps. That's what they did with the RP. So it's like $799 for that, for what? Just so it can be full frame? No, thank you. So Merry Christmas. But yeah, so you got the A6500 in here, 18-135, 1159. Nope. It's like, when you look at now what they did to the value, it's incredible. But if you bought a camera, let's say out of this used section or wherever on B&H, then, or even if you bought it new, I'll give you two scenarios. Let's say you got it from here. Let's say we just bought this A6600 kit, and then next day, ZV-E10 becomes available for pre-order. Go into chat, make sure you have your order number available, and that's where, when you click on the chat, it'll say orders that I've purchased, and you'll click on that button, and you'll be able to select from what it was, even if it hasn't shipped yet or nothing, or even if it did. And you can let them know, like, I just ordered this camera, and now this other one came out. Can I please swap it? They're going to say yes. And then at that point, if there's a credit, they'll give you your credit back, and they'll ask you, do you want to put this towards a B&H gift card, or do you want to go ahead and drop this as a send it back to the original purchase way you got purchased it, and things like that. And so when that happened, it was a better deal on the A6600. I was like, can I exchange that one for this other model? They was like, sure, no problem. And that's exactly what happened. And even if you have one, let's say I wanted to get rid of one of my cameras or something, you have it, you can trade it in. So is it possible that I can trade this in towards the purchase price of another one, or towards the ZV-E10 that's available pre-order, and put that credit plus whatever the difference is towards it? They'll say yes. Ask you different questions, blah, blah, blah. May ask you to fill out the used form and stuff like that to get you something like a RSVA or something like that, or RSMA, something like that. Send that off. And along with the gear and stuff like that, you get a credit. So it's very easy to trade in your camera if you want to for the value. The problem is that sometimes you're not always going to get the best value back monetarily when you're looking at stuff. So for example, let's go through this one, because a lot of people have those A6100, A6400s. Your camera is not bad. Let me say this. Your camera is not bad. It's not outdated. It's not worthless. Even if you kept it, it's nothing wrong with it. There's always going to be new cameras coming out, so don't get faded or jaded by that, all right? It's just this understanding that for those that just bought something, or they are wanting to pop it off the tripod more, or not have to worry about only purchasing stabilized lenses, this ZV-E10 is a better option for them. So if you go over here to the use section, actually, I'm gonna go to let's go to the home page. One of these should have the, what's his face around here? Caching your gear. Yeah, so the use tab, caching your gear. Let's say I'm putting in, no, screw that. I know who we gonna use. Freaking people in the chat talking that stuff. Just throw this in there. 24 to 70 kit lens or whatever. Let's say it's in like new condition, because most of these been sitting on the tripod. Let's say you got everything that came in the box. You're actually gonna cash in at 1040, so you'd have a credit. So at that point, get you a memory card. Make sure you have an extra Sony battery. The next brand that I would test is probably Wasabi, that you can find on Amazon or whatever, and you can add that to the basket. Again, they'd send you through a process. It's very, very easy. Even through like KEH, I really like their the way that they trade stuff in, but not everybody's going to give you a quote online. Okay, so that's the Z6 if you want to do that one. But you notice the Z6 Smart 2 wasn't available. So sometimes you may not always find your specific item. So let's go back, because everybody was talking about another one. Let's say if you got the ZV-1 even. Are they taking it back? They are. Let's say it's in like new condition. Hopefully you ain't dropped it. Let's say it came with all the things. $315. That's why I'm saying sometimes it's worth it to keep it, or unless you sell it yourself, because for what you paid for your ZV-1, whenever you got it, is it worth $315 of a store credit to you or in cash? So this is now where I would say, nope. If that was my camera that was to trade in, I was like, nope, unfortunately B&H doesn't solve my pain point there. I would look at Adorama, not B&H, Adorama, KEH.com, and then you have MPB.com, and they have a lot of good used stuff there. I've purchased from them also. So that's one. Last one. Let's do A6400, and then we'll jump in the chat and see what y'all got to say about that. Let's do the Sony A6400. So you have that plus the kit lens. This is why it pays to have the kit lens, even if you never use it, or you get one from Facebook Marketplace or whatever. $500. Not bad. Not bad at all. So you get $500 for the A6400. Real quick, because I am curious, because there are some people that got the A6600 as well. I don't think I've searched this one yet. A6400, we don't have an 18 to 135. I don't think most people do. Either was the body or the kit. 625, so you get a little bit more, but that's still not as much as the camera cost. So you definitely are taking a hit, and that price is determined by the market rate. And so some of these companies like Adorama will have you package up your stuff and send it in. They will personally evaluate it, and then they'll give you a figure back. KEH also, more or less, they can give you some kind of estimate, and then if it proves out to be true, then they can honor that estimate. If they need to make adjustments, they'll tell you where and why. So you may not have thought that little nick on the side was a big deal, and they're saying actually it is, because when we resell it, somebody's going to say, hey, there's a nick on the side, I need to get a price adjustment. So they have to account for that kind of stuff. But I've had the best success with KEH and BEH, not BEH, B&H. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. All right. Said if you need help, yeah, if you're trying to convince your wife of these new cameras, if you need help, dial 1-800-GLADNEY. I'm just saying, hey man, I'm trying to save lives and help you keep your wise. Go to 1-800-GLADNEY or call Diana.com. I'm just trying to help folks live their best life out here in these streets. All right, so they're saying, what a misfire by Nikon, pandering to shooting hippies instead of what we really need, which is fast autofocus, low light, and a low light killer. Out of the mouth of a Nikon shooter. Say, I thought they fixed the 4K in the Mark II. No, they ain't fixed nothing. They just did a firmware update. Saying Sony cams are well worth the money. The quality of you, your vids prove it. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. Closed on Saturdays for B&H. Yep. Saying, wow, Mr. Camera Junkie back on Inward Streets. Okay. Clear your day if you plan to go inside that store. And that's the thing. So when we go to Albany, we're all doing this whole big meetup. So if you are in the Glad gang and you want to come to Albany, New York for the people of video, even if you're around, we're going to be doing other stuff. So let's say you don't attend the event and you still want to come and hang out. We have a lot of people that are actually coming, that are booking hotel rooms and got their flight arrangements and all that stuff taken care of. It's going to be a big deal. I'm going a few days early simply because I'll be speaking at this event and I want time to chill. And I also want another day to go and be an H and not, you know what I'm saying? It's different when you with a group of folks. I think we're going on the 11th as a group. Doc and I are also planning for like everyone to do like a photo walk, video walk, kind of a little bit of a challenge or whatever. I'll probably order some shirts and stuff to have some stuff to give away from my merch shop with Press and Sew. So you'll be able to get a create, record, repeat shirt. And some other fun things that we have planned for this whole thing. We're going to be doing axe throwing. This isn't part of the people of video thing. This is just stuff that we're doing for our community. So going out to eat. So you'll have a chance to sit down, have dinner, and just have fun. And so, like I said, I'm going a few days early just to have time to do other stuff and prep for my talk. So, yeah, we definitely have a day that's cleared. I have a day I'm saying is cleared for B&H for real. Say, hey, I'm looking to get into my first camera for YouTube and vlogging. Do you recommend A66 or the ZV-E10? Now at this point, if you're going to get the A6600, your use case needs to be something either very specific to more of a true hybrid shooter where you'll be able to leverage all of the extra other buttons that you'll get on the A6600. Because if not, or that magnesium alloy body and the bigger Z battery, because now that's really some of the only differences between the standard and active stabilization in the ZV-E10, in addition to the Sony Catalyst Browse software that you can put that gyro data in. Basically, you get good digital stabilization versus the IBIS. For the Sony cameras, the APS-C cameras is very comparable. Bigger battery. The Z battery is no joke. I've talked about the difference between those to where it's like that. You remember those Energizer batteries, like we go on and on and on commercials or whatever. It really is like, instead of taking where you're using one of those FW50 batteries in the A6400 or whatever, which is now the ZV-E10 battery as well. Instead of taking one, then you got to put it on the charger, use another one, and you keep swapping between the two. It's one battery for most of the day, even if you vlog. And I got friends that are heavy vloggers. One battery, and they're still good because you can also charge internally on these Sony cameras. So unless you need that bigger battery, you specifically care about the internal image stabilization of the actual camera, there's really not a lot to push people towards my incredible favorite camera here. One thing that I will say that may not be a problem for a lot of people because you haven't experienced the camera yet to even for it to even be a thing. On the back of the camera, you have all of these different buttons, dials, custom function buttons, and the like, right? The ZV-E10 does not have any of these things because it is specifically designed with video in mind. Because of that, you're looking at something that is more of the ZV-1 style, which is more simplified, where you have a dedicated record button. Maybe you got one custom function button there or more or less the like, but you don't have a ton. You can reprogram still some of these other things across the back, but you don't have as many buttons. Now, again, all of those custom buttons are coming from more of a specific photography design, but I have found to appreciate because I use all of them specifically and I've customized it for video. Am I going to probably miss that? Absolutely. But because the camera is now specifically created for video, maybe not. Maybe not. The other thing that's, again, you'd have to experience it for it to be an actual issue. Again, like I said, you look at these buttons and stuff, but you also look at this dedicated dial. So you would change it to get to whatever settings that you need to. But between S and Q mode for the slow and quick, which is your super slow mode, and the time lapse mode, that you can customize what you want those settings to be already. And then for photo mode, I don't take any photos, occasional thumbnail or whatever. That's it. But most of the time, this camera's staying between S and Q and video. So maybe not as much because it's a dedicated button for that. Will I need all the other stuff with custom function buttons? I don't know. Will you? I don't know. But unless you have those specific needs or wants in that A6600, I don't think the price is warranted for it any longer. And I'm hoping because of that, you will see a significant drop in the price of the camera. And then also, so you can see that a little bit better here, we'll do a little side-by-side comparison so that you can get a better image than whatever I'm holding up to the camera here. For a moment, let's take a look-see. So my beloved A6600, let's pull up these images. Any day now, B&H. Any day. Top dial. You see how you have this dial specifically that goes between the modes. I personally like this. This is another reason why I thought initially when the ZV-1 came out, I wouldn't care for it because I would miss it. Chances are, and the way it panned out, I actually don't, by the way the camera is designed. So I'm hoping that's the same case with the ZV-E10. But the custom 1 and 2 dials, I use those. I have number 1 set to where I can quickly access my audio levels and change those because I'm doing videos and the audio levels would need to vary per environment. And the C2, I have that set to white balance. So I actually do use these for specific things. And then when you look at the back, when you press this button, whether it's in the up or the down position, you can customize it to do two totally different things. Every one of my buttons is customized to do something. And then you got this lonely record button on the side that I never use because I use the shutter button to start recording. When you look at, let's look at the ZV-E10, because I have searched that probably 37,000 times by now. And we now will pull up the, actually, that's the bottom. So this is the top. And so you see how much difference it is between the two. Let's go back to the top down view. This will suffice. But I wanted that other one, this one. So you got this A6600, ZV-E10. Very different camera bodies, more or less the styles. But you also now have a dedicated record button. It switches between the photo, video, and S&Q settings digitally instead of, you flip through the menu. Instead of having that dedicated button that initiates the change. The C1 can be programmed to whatever you want. They have it probably set initially to that the focus, whatever mode setting and stuff like that. I'm going to change that to audio when I get mine. And then for the back of the camera, you have the menu button, the function button. You can set the trash can to something with that. What that is natively set to now is the product showcase mode. That's not how I use my camera in that way. If I'm doing product showcase mode, I'm planning to sit down and talk about something in front of the camera. So I have that set to the quick menu. So I would go to the function button at that point for the quick menu. But I'm missing hella buttons. So this literally is optimized for most video creators and for real vlogging and content creators. They aren't using all the stuff more or less that I probably am with a lot of different things, but you still are gonna need to like change your white balance if you're doing videos inside. But it's a big difference between these two. But I think, again, some things I'm not going to be able to test, honestly, until I get this camera in my hands and I'm able to fully put it through its paces. I appreciate all the videos that are out there, but there are some things that are not answered for me personally yet. So there's some stuff that I need to see, switching between the white balance and the different things and the settings and stuff like that. Can I program that to the quick menu function or not? In my opinion, for most people, most use cases, you'd have to give me more details, but more or less, the ZV-E10 is going to be the answer unless you find yourself wanting the bigger Z battery. Specifically, you don't mind the flip up screen, and that's pretty much it. You don't mind the higher price tag. But yeah. Say you're not going to be disappointed with the battery life on the ZV-E10. Plus, it's going to be so much lighter compared to the A6600. Well, the thing is, it's like you may, again, that battery life, yes, it is improved. Again, it takes for each individual person to put their cameras to use in their environments and specific use cases, because what you'll find to be true is even though somebody, you figure like Maddie Hapoya, which camera conspiracy got me saying Maddie Hapony boy. And it's like you got him. I've never seen Maddie, I don't think, in a long time for real like that, for real be giddy over a camera. And I think that was something that was really fun to watch him just like for real be giddy personally for himself, because you can tell it's relieving some of the pain points that he personally has. And you see that with other cameras when those came out. When the Fuji X-T3 came out, you saw a lot of people kind of in their place where they was like, yeah, man, this is really cool. But I don't think that you're going to, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem, but I think it's going to be an annoyance. Just being fully transparent, I think it's going to be an annoyance when you're looking at that FW50 battery. Yeah, they've improved it, but when you're turning your camera constantly on and off, whether you have Wi-Fi on or you have some of the settings available more or less that may be good for whatever to help save on the battery or not, if you're using sunny weather mode or whatever, it's going to drain more. And so it just depends. A camera test that's just running it to test the extensiveness of it, that's one thing. But in your mind, how fast that it's run out as you just are going about your day, getting clips of different things. And you look and you say, dang, battery dead already. Dang, battery dead already. That's when it gets annoying. It don't matter that it's actually been whatever that time frame, because it feels like it went by faster. So that's the only thing. Saying, Diane, it's not only the husbands that have to come up with excuse. Thanks for the reason I'm going to Albany therapy. Ladies, if you need to convince your husband, just tell him, don't worry about taking out the trash or doing the dishes or me complaining at you about either of those, because I'm going to therapy, honey. I'm going to therapy. You know, when I come back, me and the kids are going to go out for like 2 hours. You can play your game. If you want, hell, you can give the kids a NyQuil and just drive around for all I care. But this is not parenting advice, clearly. You know, just tell them, honey, you know, I'm going to Better in Homes therapy up in Albany. And, you know, if you see some things on the statement, it's not Amazon. So, you know, I wasn't ordering stuff like that or whatever. Yeah, they're going to send me something in the mail and they want me to document how I'm feeling. And, you know, it's like I'm sharing it into this support group called Let's Get Live on Facebook. And honey, I just want you to know I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for Do you think I would lie to my spouse? I probably would. Say, I've been stalking B&H for used lenses and loving it. A good place, Kombucha, Facebook Marketplace. Not just checking your city locale, but other surrounding areas around you as well. If it's within a couple hours drive, then it's doable or it's shippable without any stress, more or less. And then the other thing is that because the Sony E-mount has been around for a long time, let me show y'all the hack of the Centuray. Let's see if I can pull up Facebook Marketplace real quick and help y'all out on some things. But Facebook, I don't trust Facebook far as I can throw them, because they be all in your business. I tell you one thing that's getting on my nerves, the Facebook dating app. I wish the hell we could delete that. Hey, Diana, would you like to update your profile? Did you know that you're getting 1 year older this year? It's like, ain't nobody stressing about that but you. Mind your business, because we ain't got to go to Better in Homes, okay? Family therapy. We living our best lives out here in these streets. So let me put in for... I'm just changing my location, and then I'll show y'all how I'm able to hack things and find good deals when it comes to other stuff when you're shopping and things like that. So you just really want to, it'll like have your city and whatever that general mile radius is, you just want to change that to, so let's say I'm going to change this to Chicago and pick there. And I'm just going to do a 58-mile radius, so a general circumference somewhere thereabout. And then let's see here. I'm just going to type in the biggest key here is not getting very specific. Facebook is not a search engine. Let's get and I hope don't nobody send me no gosh darn messages. Let me see if I can turn Messenger off real quick before I do any of this. Incoming call sounds off. What else do I need to disable? Everything. Turn on active status. No. Block settings. I don't know. Facebook is doing too much out here in these streets. All right, let's go over here to cheatcode.com. So I'm going to type in Sony camera. This is how you can find amazing deals for used stuff, even whatever it is that you're doing. I'm going to say, let's say Kim Booch is saying she's looking for a deal for lenses. Fantastic. The Nikon FC just came out lens. You can get one available for $125. It looks the same. It's probably what it's based off of. Type camera, not the camera model, because you have to think a couple things. Who is selling something and they don't know the full value of it? Who is selling something and they don't, it's like they don't know the exact model name. So again, it's alluding to them being a novice. So it says Sony camera. Us more professional individuals, more well-versed individuals, we don't put Sony ZV-E10 Mark I, such and such released. Like you can put the whole nine. Some people ain't trying to do all that because they don't know. Or they're reselling something that their sister asked them to sell because they never used it. So you want to put Sony camera, Canon camera, Nikon camera, whatever it is that you're looking for. And then you will find a ton of NEX batteries. So not batteries, but cameras. So the Sony NEX5R, these are all E-mount cameras. These are mirrorless cameras. And you'll see, I never released the video because we wind up getting confirmed rumors around the release dates and stuff like that. So then I released those newer ZV-E10 batteries, not batteries, but videos out. But if we go and take a look, this is 175. So we have a 18 to 55 kit lens. I can already tell just by looking at it, whatever that flash thing is, and stuff like that. So these are what the cameras that we see now, the A61, 64, 63, whatever, is what they were based off of. And so if you wanted and you were looking for an 18 to 55 lens, here you go. Chances are you're going to find it for somewhere close to that price, but at least you get a little camera body. And I wouldn't mind having some of all of those personally. So let's keep searching. You have somebody selling the 20 millimeter, which is similar to that 16 f2.8 that I have. Both of those very, plastic, fantastic, lenses more or less. But I'm looking for somebody that's selling the camera or something. You also see the Sony A-mount stuff in there. Not compatible. Not going to work. You can get an adapter, but it ain't worth it. So I'm not looking for that. They sell an A6000 for $500. It's not what we're looking for. And so this is $35 or whatever. So what Doc was talking about, some of these camcorders even are still E-mount. So all I'm looking for, I don't care about the camera or whatever. I'm just looking to see, is it an E-mount for whatever it is? I don't have to know what the camera is specifically. I just am looking for those E-mount lenses specifically. Again, that's an A-mount. A 5000 with the kit lens on here. So what we got here, a 6000 for $350. Not bad. I did see one around here. I think that was probably closer to me, but you can find stuff in here around that. So let's change the search to Sony NEX, because that's usually what you'll find these ones on. So let's say you're buying the camera only, but maybe you also want to get the kit lens still, but you don't want to pay whatever. Obviously $270 is more, but you can usually talk these people down to a price because this stuff has been sitting around on their desk for who knows how long. And usually the other great thing is most of these take the FW50 batteries, and they are original Sony batteries. Most of these people that bought these cameras never used them. This is why the case and all the got the stickers. Who keeps that? Somebody that didn't use the camera. So you'll find plenty of good stuff. So you get a kit lens that's gently used, and you also can get you another FW50 battery. That's actually a Sony battery that may be cheaper. Again, when you talk them down. So that 55 to 210, somebody's selling that over here. You have another kit lens for $110. And again, sometimes if you can get the lens plus batteries and whatever other accessories that people got, they'll throw in a memory card, whatevs. That's something that you can leverage and stuff like that. So just something that you can play around with in other surrounding cities. So that's just Chicago, for example, but you can play around with that. And again, other surrounding cities if you prefer, for Facebook Marketplace, as well as Craigslist if you don't mind shopping there. That's a good way. That's how I find a lot of deals. Also, for those of you that are coming to Better and Homes, family, counseling sessions in Albany, New York, and you'll be spending quite a bit of money, go ahead and search for any connecting layover places. And, wherever you're sitting for 2-3 hours, what's available in that city, and see and check that out for purchase. So some things for you to check out there. Let's see here. All right, let's go through. Let's check out the chat for a minute. All right. Will this live stream be available for replay? Yes, it will. Saying seeing all the ways to navigate the site is helpful. Thanks. My pleasure. Said I help new photographers, videographers. Okay, you're answering that question. But yeah, check out Camera Junkie. Saying yes, she leaves these sessions up. Yes, I believe you can rewind now if you missed something. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Saying wasabi. Yes, I believe the stabilized mode comes with the crop, so you can consider that when getting lenses. So here's the thing: it is a small crop when you're looking at standard versus active, but that's the way any digital stabilization works. Even if you put a video into Final Cut Pro, or if you put that into Adobe and you add on the stabilization that's built into the software, it's going to crop in, because it's a lot of movement happening on the image. So the point of the crop is so that you can reduce some of that and really focus on the main part of the video. That's where Sony Catalyst Browse comes in handy as well, with that being available, because you can adjust how much of that crop that you want. So even if you add that and you say, yeah, that's a little bit too tight, I want to pull that out, you can throw that in the Sony Catalyst Browse and bring that back out if you want to. So that's the thing with that camera and that setup and stuff like that. But that's not how any of that stuff works. Same with Canon, same with anybody. But the thing is not crop being your issue. The point is shaky footage. Because if you're shaking and bouncing all over the place, nuts so crazy, ain't nobody watching no way. So ain't nobody, either they're not that worried about the crop. And if you invest in a 10 to 18 lens, which I get is a stretch. But also let me show y'all something that I thought about doing this, and I may do this now. And this is a stretch. I've not seen anybody talk about this or mention this, because most people stray away from the older Sony stuff. 16 millimeter f 2.8. This is a pancake lens, right? This, Sony came out with it at the time. They weren't, when the NEX models and stuff came out, they're finding their vein and their lane when it comes to stuff. The 16 and the 20 millimeter pancake lenses have these pedal fisheye and wide angle adapters. I have tested them. To be honest with you, if you want a very cheap way of doing this, comparative to the 10 to 18, this is the fisheye one. I want to see the Sony 16. I'm just going to do the wide angle. If they still have it. The conversion lens is what I'm looking for. They may not. Wide angle. Let's see if they got the conversion. No, okay, so I'm just saying fisheye, but you can probably find these online a lot of different places as well. This is $298 brand new. 223 if you want to get one used or whatever, but this is the fisheye one. But what happens is you take that 16 millimeter or you take that 20 millimeter f2.8 by Sony, and what you're able to do is take these wide angle pedal adapters, similar to how we were saying like the ZV-1 and you get the one by Ulanzi. This is like this, but Sony had made one back in the day. and you can put that on that 16 f2.8 and it will make it wider. I have personally tested this out. I did it through Lens Rentals when I was testing that, the 10 to 18 and whatever, just to see what I personally wanted. And I thought about doing a video, but what I did was I messed up the footage and shot it in something crazy, and the whole video was lime green. I think the white, I know what it was. The white balance, it was set to in here. I didn't change it. I was at the park and I was doing the walking and vlogging test. I had did the test between that and it's a whole bunch of other stuff. All that footage went to the trash because they were all severely lime green and I could not recover it. So unless I was wanting to look like a freaking troll, then no. But you can get these available on like Amazon or whatever. So if you want to get that Sony 16 f2.8 and you want to get the wide angle conversion or even the fisheye one and get it even more distorted looking, you can do that. And sometimes you can find those for like $100. So for $200-300, you're able to get away with more or less something similar to a wide angle lens. It still has the weight. Those are not lightweight. They're a bit weighty. So that's the thing you're not talking about at that point. Also, being able to leverage having a filter on there. So like this is my ND filter that I use. I put on my A6600 and you see that it'll get darker and you won't be able to see as much, and then you'll see it get brighter and things like that. So this is my ND filter. You won't be able to add one of these on that because it is a bulbous protrusion out front, so you won't be able to see that. So just so you're aware. Say Miss B&H should be supporting you, direct a lot of business towards them. I don't know, man. This is like, I literally, what was it, like yesterday? Applied for B&H affiliate link, got an email this morning. Yeah, we're so sorry, but no. I'm like, fine, whatever. I'm gonna stop applying. And saying, good morning, everyone. A little late to the chat, but wanted to stop by and say hello. Well, hello, Miss DeAndre Blake. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. I said I'll be doing a recon mission before the B&H day before I see you, Miss D. I heard that. Saying I've got my hotel in air. I just hope this damn virus is chill enough for me to attend. That's something that I'm closely watching as well. I haven't heard anything different as far as it being direct. It's already like a smaller, close-knit event. And so I don't think this is something where you probably will see, like a ton of people at. I think they are keeping it like more or less like a real small, close-knit thing. And I'm sure that the hotel has to have certain COVID restrictions. So maybe, you got to wear a mask the full time, maybe except for as speakers occasionally when we get up there or whatever. I'm not sure on those precautions. As I get more details, I will let you all know that are coming so that you feel more safe to travel. Or if not, like I said, maybe you come hang out or whatever. Or if not, then we will see, because it's no small chunk of change to make this trip for a lot of people. And I get that and I respect that. So if I find out anything extra, I will let you know, but we've not heard any rumblings whatsoever of you potentially not being able to come or things being issued thus far. So just throwing that out. Yeah. Can't wait to be able to see some of my people from the interwebs. 100% agree. Let's see here. Saying I truly envy one who can get out right now since curfews in Jamaica. Yeah, the Rona. I understand. Saying question for you, Dinah. How long do you foresee the ZV-E10 being the best entry option for content creators? Maybe 2-3 years before we'll compete for it. So I think Canon made an announcement where they did like an article or something. You know how sometimes they'll do like CEOs say something. So they made a statement that they are looking to dominate the mirrorless industry across all of their mounts or what have you. What I do think though is that they're potentially going to consolidate their mounts. Will they maybe do another passive release to their EFM mount, and then that may be the last one, or maybe one or two potentially. They should be done with DSLRs at the consumer level for the most part. And we should see like maybe that Canon RC that comes out for APS-C. And then at that point, APS-C users will be looking at using RF lenses instead of EF mount. They won't be able to convert. And so you may see something that is a 4K 30 minute thing, whatever time limit, and maybe 1080p 120 frames per second camera that comes in at, $900. Fuji is probably the next best person to release something. They already released amazing cameras. I don't think having an amazing camera is their problem. It's just autofocus and lenses that focus as well, because they need help in that direction. Nikon needs help in the direction of autofocus. And again, for that APS-C, it's just a matter for some of these companies, do they want to focus on full frame or do they want to focus on APS-C? And most of them went the full frame route and just kind of left everything else high and dry. I think so. So with that being said, there will be other cameras that come out, but after the A7 IV comes out in September, and that's a 4K 60, all these amazing things, S-Cinetone and all the woodworks, sub $2,000. I think this camera will have a home for a long time, because most people that are creators now, you got to think the creator market probably quadrupled plus last year, because entrepreneurs all over the world now needed to live stream, solely for the fact that you have people that now need to live stream. They can now take photos, their own headshots more or less, out in the company, you know what I'm saying, gazebo or something like that, and it looks nice. And they can, most of these companies now have hired, built or building media teams. They don't have a need for 4K 60. They are fine with 1080p. It's like most people still use 1080p. So 1080p, 120 frames per second is more than enough for most people, average user. You got the small lightweight body, smaller batteries, and the lightweight means you can switch it from one person to the next. Ease of use, ease of the body, all of that. I think it's going to be very easy for people to pick this camera up and see themselves using it. For that reason, I think that this camera will be it already is on Amazon's bestseller list for number 9 and number 10 slot. That much is true right now. And so if you haven't checked that out, let me see if I can pull that up. Oh, and for those of you that supported the book release I was saying like the 100 Life, we became a bestseller. So you're now looking at an official best-selling author, Amazon author out here in these streets. So I have to tell my folks. But yeah, official Amazon bestseller out here in these streets. So the book did go to hit number 1 in 15 different categories as far as the Amazon bestseller list. So thank you. I'm super grateful and appreciative. Y'all are the bee's knees Hall of Fame. All right. So I'm very pumped and excited about that. But yeah, so the camera, the ZV-E10, it is already hitting at number 9 and number 10 slot on the Amazon bestsellers list, or best-selling cameras. That is, it's already hit number 9 and number 10. It's just at pre-order. And you have other cameras. Let me see if I can pull that back up. Best-selling camera. And just so you can see what it's competing with. All right. Number 1 spot, R6, Canon R6 coming in at $2,500. Canon M50, original Mark 1 coming in at $649. So this is going to X out the M50 Mark 1 and 2, because even though people enjoy, I'll put it this way, unless somebody just enjoys Canon, that's pretty much it at this point, why they would use it. And that's fine. So Canon M50 Mark 1, Mark 2, again, it's if somebody likes it or if they find it for cheaper and, you know, they're like, oh, I just like it. Cool. So you have those. I think those will just continue to sell because people like it. It'll continue to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And for the person that plans to only stick in 1080p, 24 or 30 frames per second and want to do live streaming via USB or HDMI on the newer model, then that's fine for them. I think the camera still will sell well. A7 Mark III, again, I think this camera will continue to sell very well because it'll become a cheaper and cheaper full frame option that shoots 4K 30, 120 frames per second up to 1080p. It'll also have the internal in-body image stabilization in addition to a headphone port. So even though I didn't have the flip out screen or whatever, I think that camera will still continue to sell well. A6400, I think will get bumped out the way. I think it'll still be a great seller because again, it's just going to continue to drop in price. And so people that will only leave it sitting on a tripod, A61, 6400 will sell well. So you have those that will be there. Damn. It's like, What's that? That track said, "Damn, son." Okay, ZV-E10 moved up to number 6 spot. That's quick. I just checked this morning. So ZV-E10 is now sitting at number 6. It was sitting at 9 and 10. So, okay. So it's at the number 6 spot. So that in itself is just proof positive. More people are buying this thing, and that's with the kit lens, which suggests to me that people that buy the kit lens are people that are just getting started or whatever. Because if you have a slew of lenses that you've already invested in, you just get camera bodies. So people that are buying a kit lens, these are new people or people that are transitioning over, people that want to use it, add it to their repertoire. This camera will be a hot seller for the next several years. I have no qualms about that. And the fact that it's sitting at number 6 and it's just at what, day 2, maybe 3 of pre-orders. I think like fully day 2 of pre-orders. It's going to be a Bees Knees Hall of Fame bestseller. And it will continue to be one, in my opinion. What's up, Elise CEO Way? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Does the ZV-E10 have a shutter count, seeing as it's more of a focus? Also, can you go in manual mode for video and photos? So as far as it having a shutter count, all cameras have that unless they're like a camcorder and they have no photo capabilities. This camera still has the ability to take photos. And so for example, you're not supposed to do this, but I do what I want to do. And so when you go into, say, photo mode here, you're still gonna get that. Like, and it's only stopped because I stopped. You're still gonna get that on the ZV-E10. Same sensor, same camera. So you can put it in photo mode and you'll be able to take photos with it just fine. So yes, it will still have access to the manual mode if you want to shoot in that, as well as shutter, aperture, priority, and the like, as well as the everything else that you want to do. It's just not going to be a physical dial. So you still going to have access to do that. So you're not going to miss out anything for when you want to take photos. You still do have a dedicated shutter button on the front of the camera. As far as, like I said, manual mode for photos and video, yes, you have that as well. So I'm so pumped for Albany. I agree, the giddiness for Matty Haponi Boy, 100%. Can we get the Wheel of Wonder and Honor? No, David, we're not playing the Wheel of Wonder music, because if I play it, if Devin is still on and listening in, then he gonna run in the other room like he said I was trip and fall because you think we giving something away. No, saying Albany isn't in the cards for me this year, so I'm gonna have to avoid social media for a week because I'm gonna have some serious FOMO. Listen, Kombucha, you just got married. You're still in the honeymoon stage. You can around the finger, wrap around the finger. We're gonna have to teach you, girl. We're just gonna have to teach you. It's okay. So take some hashtag best life. But no, if you can't come, that's fine. It'll be plenty of footage and stuff. So we'll try to do some kind of a digital experience. We're talking about live streaming from Doc's room and doing some stuff. So it'll still be occasion for those that can't come in person to still find a way to, be in with us virtually. Saying, hey everyone, what's going on, Bobby? Good to see you. Saying, do you trust shipping and purchase protection from Facebook Marketplace? I mean, if you're gonna order from it, you might as well. It's a crapshoot, as with anything else. Not everything works 100% well all the time. Most of the stuff that I get is within a driving distance that I'm comfortable of doing, and so I'll just go get it. But if it's not, then I've had plenty of friends also that buy from Amazon that have it shipped through not Amazon, buy it through Facebook and have it shipped through Facebook, and they're fine with it. I think it's fine. It works. You know, if it was a huge problem with it, you'd hear a massive, obliteratingly loud complaint around that. But you don't. So, all right. Saying pro tip, search Sony CX. People confuse the alpha symbol for a CX on Facebook Marketplace. How do you get C and... Okay. Let's see what Camera Junkie talking about out here in these streets. So Camera Junkie said if you use Sony, oh, not CEX, but CX. Let's try it. Okay, we got a 50 millimeter f1.8 plastic, fantastic, $180. 24 f2.8 handy cam, $100. Nah, this isn't the one with the interchangeable lens on there. It's the one with the built-in, still a Zeiss lens though. All right, Sony Alpha 50 1.8. Here we go. NEX body. You see how close that looks to those current cameras or whatever, but they also have, now these are not original. I see probably this one that's an original battery, but that's the Big Mike's brand. So you got whatever film lens, whatever adapter with the lens, and then this, whatever that is, and then two other third-party knockoff whatever brands. The price is negotiable. It's a nice camera for beginners and takes good photos. If you have questions, please let me know. 8 gigabyte SAN. This is how, crap, godly, this is how small it is. Variable ND, 8 gigabytes, so not bad. With 3 batteries, charger, whatever lens that he got going on over here, not bad. You know, if you wanted to pick that one up or what have you, and get some of the extra batteries with it. I'm not seeing anything for real, Camera Junkie. At least not in these Chicago listings. Sony NEX 280. Comes with the kit lens, a durable strap, micro USB charger, and charger for the battery not included. This can be replaced for though if you care and want to use the camera, whatever, you can replace those screens. But I don't know. That's an option. So you can check in your areas and see if you find anything. Just because I'm not seeing anything doesn't mean you won't find anything at all. This is the lens that I personally use right here, the 35mm f1.8. That's what you're looking at me on right now. So that's that one. 28 to 70, 200, RX 100 Mark II. And I got some other stuff in here. 16 to 50. And if you ever see one like this, it's fine. It just means that they took the lens off before they turn the camera off, so the lens stays protruded. Just make sure it's not dented, make sure it twists and turns, and like if you're gonna buy a used lens like in person or whatever, or even when you get it, make sure you're getting it in close proximity that you can test and try it, or take it to a local camera store and test it and try it on a camera body there, so that you can make sure that it works, or what have you. So that's something that you can be sure to do, but I'm not seeing anything on here right now, so but that's something that you guys can test and try out. So thanks for that, Camera Junkie. Appreciate that. And if this is off topic, ignore it. But you still have consultation hours available. Need help with my N50 mic live streaming? It sounds like my head is in a garbage can. Yes. If you go to Dinah.link, or not Dinah.link, you actually go to DinahGladney.com /work with me. And you go over here. If you want to schedule a call, click on that. It'll drop you down to here. And we have 30-minute and 60-minute consultations available on the site that you can book those based on my availability. So I'll drop that link in the chat. That'll get you to that bottom part there specifically. Alrighty. So everybody's saying congratulations. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. What's going on, Kevin Cox? Good to see you. Can't stick around, but wanted to say hello and remind everyone to smash that like 100%. Smash the like button if you're getting value. Saying just switch from Canon to Sony based on your channel. Thanks so much. The Corey Shepherd podcast. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope that you are well served here with the content that you're seeing. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. Thinking of making a YouTube accountability club to motivate YouTubers to put out more content, up your skills, and not just buy stuff willy-nilly. You got any tips to start off right? Create. That's why I created the shirt. Create, post, and repeat. Most people's problems when it comes to getting started on YouTube is themselves. It's nothing wrong with the camera. It's wrong with them. It's nothing wrong with the gear or what's available, or even the prices that stuff is at. You can find a lot of good things at a lot of good prices, but the biggest problem with most of the YouTube creators is that they actually don't post content to YouTube. So it's a fake title. So the thing with accountability groups, it's only as good as those that are active. And I don't mean like actively posting in the group. I mean those that are actively doing the work, because otherwise it just becomes a group around a lot of people complaining about the YouTube algorithm, and they don't support black creators, they don't support white creators, they don't support like, it don't matter what, they don't support left-handed creators. It's like they'll find a reason for their excuses to be valid. You're either going to have your convictions and your reasons for why, or you're going to have your excuses. So I support you in creating an accountability group, but it has to be some commitment. You know, so if somebody's looking to get started, or, you know, the way to get started right is to create. Your videos are never going to look as good as you want them to on your first day. And it's just like saying you're never going to perform as best as you possibly could on your first day at your job. You suck the first week at your job, even if you are well versed in the what to do's, because you're learning the systems and the process of how to function there. So what most people need to get an education in how to start right, there is nothing that you can learn about YouTube without posting first, because otherwise it's just information around YouTube. The analytics and stuff like that don't matter. You can always adjust the title, adjust the description, change a thumbnail, but you cannot, you know what I'm saying, make adjustments to a video that you haven't created. And most people's biggest fear is the posting the content. I don't care what other things come before that. The posting is what matters. Once I started getting involved in other things when it came to investing in courses and stuff like that, that came afterwards. I was posting first. You figure it out as you go. And so that's the biggest thing. Like I said, I support you in what you're trying to do as far as that for, you know, an accountability group. But it's either just going to be a bunch of people that are serious about maintaining their convictions, or it's going to be mostly about a bunch of people coddling each other's excuses. So that's my personal opinion. If you want to start right, it requires you to post. Everything else comes after that. It's not going to say, oh, well, make sure your titles do this and make sure you do whatever. All that stuff don't matter if you never post a freaking video. We have nothing to evaluate if you don't post your freaking video. We have no analytics to look at if you haven't been posting consistently for a month. We don't know when the best time is for you to upload a video for your specific channel unless you've been posting for consistently at least for a month. We can't tell you anything about your audience or any of the search data specifically for your channel unless you've been posting for a month. We can't tell you anything about the search algorithm and who it's specifically directing towards your channel unless you've been posting for at least consistently for a month. YouTube is based on people, and most people that are getting into the creator space blame the algorithm and YouTube this and YouTube that. YouTube is based on people. So if your stuff sucks, it's because you're not connecting with no people. And YouTube ain't gonna push your stuff out to just everybody. And it's like, for what? It's the same reason why we skip stuff. So my thoughts on that in regards to that. So just make sure if people want to learn how to get started right, post. Make sure that you actually make them post. Have dedicated upload days. If they don't have one, pick Tuesday. And they say, well, Tuesday won't work, pick Thursday. And stick to it. If you say Tuesday by 8 a.m., make sure you hold to your convictions. So if it's going to be true accountability, make sure it's focused around make sure that people post, because everything else comes after posting. So then I just got the ZV-1 a month ago or so ago. I didn't know about the ZV-E10 was coming out. Should I do a trade or something? Do you want to? So here's the thing with that trading thing as well. Do you want to? Because if you don't, you don't have to. Like, just because it's something new coming out, you may not need to upgrade. I'm only saying this for those that were making, they were very hard pressed between the decision between, what is it, the A61 and 6400, or should they get the ZV-1? And you had to make a decision between the two. Now there's an option that meets you smack dab in the middle, and you can have all the above. If not, and you actually were looking between the two, and you were maybe able to decide what you should get, and that is actually fully serving you and all your needs, you don't need anything else. You don't need to buy the ZV-E10. So unless you have a specific need or want for more, or you pick the ZV-1 and you're kind of finding out now that you do want the option to switch lenses, then at that point you maybe can consider it. But most of the people, if depending on how you were swaying of what you wanted to do, then that will determine if, you know what I'm saying, you need to get or even look at doing something else. But if you're happy with what you have, you don't need to get nothing else. It's just, unless you just want it. but you don't have to. You're not like missing out per se on something or whatever in that regard. Saying thank you, Diana. My pleasure. Saying take cover, Diana. That'll hurt busting shots. Pew pew pew. $15 Kombucha. Thank you for all your inspiration and value provided to give. Well, thank you so much, Kombucha. Shout out for the super chat of the century. All right, let's see what we got. All right, so are we good on questions? If nobody has any, oh, here we go. Skipped over one, my bad. Noel Francisco, good to see you. My Canon M50 switches to a frozen green screen midway through live stream, about 15 to 30 minutes. I bought the dummy battery you suggested in previous video. If you are using an HDMI or USB cable, change them. Even though your cable may not be like where it's tattered or wiring, when you let a cable sit for long enough, it gets to be, it gets stressed at that point, right? And so even if it's like the L-shaped one is hanging down, whatever, depending on what you're using for a cable, change those first, and then also change the port that you're using and plugging that into. When you start seeing those little green frozen screens and kind of a stuff, if it's on the camera, test that with no cables plugged in, because that is potentially a malfunction of the camera, and that is not normal. And at that point, you do want to reach out to Canon customer service support. They actually do a really good job. If you're still under warranty, you should be able to take advantage of that if you bought your camera new. If you bought it used, you may be looking at something like $250 or $300 potentially to get your camera fixed. But if it's on the computer screen that you're seeing this green flashy looking image or whatever, where it's like freezing, but your actual camera screen is fine, or when you unplug the cable, if you have HDMI or whatever for what, like, and it's fine, if the camera's fine, check your cables and then change ports and then retest. Because sometimes it's just a matter of the cable has been stressed or used, even though it's not moving around a ton or whatever. That has nothing to do with it. Sometimes those wires get fragile on the inside and they break. And I've had that happen before, and it's like a stationary setup. You would think that they're fine. No, just switch your cables first and test that there. But if it's on the camera, that's a glitch or something that's wrong in the camera. And at that point, reach out to Canon customer service, because you'll need to get help through them. If it's through, like you're noticing that on your monitor on that display there, but your camera screen is fine, then at that point, change your cables and the connection port. That's really going to be the biggest thing as far as that's regard. Let's see. Okay, got you. Thank you so much. My pleasure. Glad to be of assistance. All right. Let's see here. Is this the song? Finally, the one that I like. I like this one. All right. We're going to rock out to this one because we have no more questions. We've gone through all of the questions in the chat. We've covered a lot of different things to help you get started going, and all the things on the in-between when it comes to you getting started, when it comes to video, the ZV-E10 and all the rest, and comparing it to cameras and a ton of other stuff. So if you've been getting value out of the stream, make sure you hit the like button. And if you didn't, I guess you can hit the dislike button, whatever floats your boat, or find your lost remote. YouTube still considers that engagement, so you ain't bothering me none. All right, but guys, live with passion. I will see you over in the next video, and expect more things coming with Ecamm Live. Expect more things when it comes to even some Canvas tutorials that we have coming out. The next video that should be coming out is one about helping you remove the noise and the hiss. Maybe you're coming from a DSLR, having problems in your environment, and you need to remove some background noise, and how to do that for free. So we'll be checking that out on the channel, in addition to a lot of other good content. I'll see you guys on the next live stream with that, guys, with passion.